Hello, this is an instructional video on how to disassemble a battery from an Asus computer laptop. This is an Asus x401A. I've already disassembled the battery, but for the sake of education, for the sake of instruction, I will be disassembling it again for you now. If you've never taken apart a laptop battery before, particularly a modern laptop battery, you might feel like you're going to break something. Well, that's actually the case. You have to break a few things to take apart a current laptop battery. They're not really designed to be taken apart or modified in any way. So you're going to need to use a little bit of extra force, and there are going to be some crunches and snapping noises from time to time, but that is the risk of taking apart one of these things. I cut my finger a little bit. You can see a little flap of skin there, so if you want to be prudent, I would recommend wearing some safety goggles in case you're doing any prying with a utility knife, for example. The tip might chip off and come flying somewhere, and if you are also inclined to wear a pair of safety gloves, preferably ones that would allow you some freedom of movement. Alright, well, let's get started. If you have one of these computers, you'll be familiar with the battery. I started from the connector there by kind of rolling the battery back and forth, twisting it, and opening I don't know if you can see that, opening a small gap there. Now this is kind of bulged out a little bit because I've already taken it apart, but if you can get in there, you can see that there is a space there which you can put a small screwdriver or a large screwdriver head in, or the blade of utility knife or something like that, and pry from there. However, there seems to be a much simpler solution in this big hole here. If you put in a large screwdriver or something like that and pry and pry and pry, that will pop out. If you start like that, which is what I would recommend, putting something in there and popping out that edge, then you have the opportunity to just start pulling using brute force. You can use a screwdriver to pry, but basically every time you see one of these kind of notches in here, bring the plastic from the inside over the edge of the outside so that this will create a kind of a wedge here where you can put your utility knife in or a screwdriver or something and really start to pry more and more. So kind of continue the force up, but get in there like this and kind of pry. Now be careful, because the batteries themselves are sensitive to knives and other things, and also they're going to be glued into the bottom, so you're going to be moving this around and those batteries are probably going to be pretty immobile. Anyway, continue to pry and pry and pry, and you'll start hearing these kind of crunching sounds and snapping, and you're going to start opening the case up quite a lot. So keep on doing that. I would recommend using your hands, especially if you're not terribly afraid of cutting yourself. I don't think you're going to cut yourself badly, but again, if you're worried about that, wear safety gloves and continue to pry and pull until the housing is off and the inside is exposed. Just a minute, this part's being uncooperative, even though I've already done it. Let's just get in there with this and a little bit more. I don't want to break it more than necessary because I'm planning on not using these batteries but replacing them, because I don't want to spend $100 on a new battery, but there you go. There were just a couple pieces of tape over these two wires which I have cut, but now that they're exposed, what I would suggest you do is carefully with the screwdriver or something like that, maybe use a bamboo skewer for barbecuing or whatever, to get in here and start to carefully snap out that glue that's holding the batteries in. And once you have all the cells unglued from the housing, you can take it out. Now the circuit board comes with it, and that's just fine. But if you're planning on doing any modifications, this is when a diagram would come in handy. I haven't done the diagram yet, but I do have... just a minute, is that hot? I do want to make a diagram of this, and so with a pencil or a pen or anything like that, I would suggest, even with colored pencils, maybe it would be the best, or on the computer, take some photographs, is to take a look at the configuration here. Seems like this end cell here has a yellow wire and a white wire connected to it. So let's just draw a cell here, and this white wire goes over here. We have a red wire here and a yellow wire here. Well, here's our circuit board. Circuit board can just be roughly drawn in here. Here's our connector. And we can show that the yellow wire comes to this point here. And we can say yellow. And this wire is white. Now there are two white wires, but this is just going to have to do. We have another battery here, cell, and we have two more. Don't worry about how good it looks, as I haven't dissected this any more than what you've seen already. This is all new to me. So we have another wire here and another wire here. Well, that's a black one. Let's take the tape off here carefully. Using scissors, or scissors is probably a little bit better. And don't do an upward cutting action when you have a hand here. You can easily slice yourself. So I'm going to switch my grip to this. Alright, let's start to kind of pull this apart a bit, if possible. Alright, there we go. Now we're starting to see the configuration a little bit more clearly. Let's get those taken off of the adhesive there, so we can see exactly what's going on. For example, which is this soldered to? Is this soldered to this battery or to this battery? I don't know yet. And so on. Actually, that appears to be soldered here, but we're going to draw, like I said, a diagram there very, very soon. Okay, so once we get this sorted out, we can start to really look at the configuration of this battery array. Again, I cut that carefully as I could. Let's cut this one here. Okay, well, now we're starting to see some different things. Let's separate that there. So it looks to me like our configuration is quite interesting. Okay, these two. Oh, I am off screen here. I have no idea what's going on here. This is a mystery to me. We can clean that up a bit. Seems to be some kind of white goo on there. I don't know if that's going into the battery or not. No, it isn't. I don't know what that's doing. Let's clean that off. No, absolutely not. It is doing nothing. So here is a wire loop. On the diagram we can just draw a loop there. Thin black wire. Thin black wire loop. Yellow is to yellow, white is coming to here. These two are connected. Now here's where it gets interesting. These three are basically connected together. So if we want to look at this in a different light, we could just think of this as a battery like this. Alright, so let's cut this off. Oh my, this is getting more and more confusing. Okay. We've got a kind of parallel series of batteries here. Okay, if we want to redraw the configuration, we can do it like this. Let's redraw it on the other side. How about that? All right, we have a battery like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Those are all definitely connected. My problem now is knowing which is plus and minus. Okay, I think I know. All right. This looks like a plus plus. Let's just say that there's a little knob there, and there's a knob here, and a knob here, and a knob here, and a knob here. Okay. So, what we have is these two are connected, like this. Then we have these two are connected like this. And like this. So those three are connected. And then it seems like we have a very interesting configuration here. These two are connected here. These two are connected here. And these two are connected here. Now we have the white wire connecting from here to here. White. And we have a red coming from here, red to circuit board. We have a black wire coming from here, black to circuit board, black to circuit board, and it looks like a white to circuit board, white to board. All right, so which part of the circuit board? Well, let's just draw those up. We have the circuit board is here. Here's the connector. And black goes here. And white goes here. And red goes here. And yellow goes here. So I'm assuming that once I take this apart and I completely discover which are positive and negative, that shouldn't be too difficult. It's going to be simply a matter of soldering new batteries in and then rearranging them with these interesting connector pieces of metal, these little bracket things, and then fitting them back into the housing, connecting them back up to the circuit board, and then charging it up and seeing if your laptop works, or using these for any other purpose. I've seen people using them for RC vehicles, maybe quadcopters or race cars or something like that, but this is quite useful. This is again for an Asus x401A, but I believe there are several different similar physical configurations of Asus laptops the same size as the x401A that this battery can be used for. I hope this video was instructive enough. There again is our diagram, and everything is finished. Thank you very much.